Welcome back to another video on the broken clock. Today I am doing some work on our Thor Hurricane 29M. It's a 2019 Ford F53 chassis, and these are pretty noisy. At full throttle, you know, you're sitting right on top of the engine. Most companies don't do a good job doing sound insulation. So I saw some videos on YouTube of people applying sound deadening just like I do in cars, and thought I'd give that a try. So I went out and did a quick run with a sound meter, and I'll roll that in if I can figure out how to do it. Otherwise, I'll post the average and peak decibel levels. But right now, I'm going to start taking the cover off the Doghouse. So this is the setup I use for testing. It have the tripod, and it's about shoulder height or a little under, and it's basically sitting on top of where the little table goes there. Something else I forgot to mention is I can already feel the heat through this. They're not, like I said, they're not well insulated for sound or heat. So the sound insulation should also give us some heat resistance. I know last summer when we had our water bottles and the cup holders, they would get warm pretty quick. So I'm definitely not a fan of these. They are giant self-tapping screws, and apparently they're difficult to take out. And then to remove the Doghouse, start pulling up on it. Here, the gaskets separate, and here we have the top of our Ford V10. So I figured out why this was kind of difficult to get out. Well, one of the reasons. Hole here, hole up there, but on this side it was shifted over to the driver's side a little bit too far, and they put the screw through here and then right here. So I may see if I can shift it to the passenger side, like a quarter of an inch, half an inch when I put it in. Well, I don't know if that's possible or not. So here we've got the Doghouse upside down, ready for to work on. It's real thin fiberglass, so be careful with it. You don't want to have to make any fiberglass repairs. You can tell there is some sound insulation, but it doesn't go all the way to the edges. There's these big gaps here around the front. This gasket doesn't come all the way to the corner, so I may look and see if I can fix that, or maybe put a new piece of gasket in this corner. Not sure. We'll get that off. And then this is the sound deadening insulation that I purchased off Amazon. We'll see how that goes. I think I got enough to put 2 layers on. If not, I think I have some from an old project that I will see if I can finish this out. I'm probably not going to worry about covering the seams on it, as I'm going to do 2 layers, and then I may see if I can put the factory sound insulation on if it's not too destroyed. Well, so that didn't work quite as planned. It got stuck to itself, getting it off, and then coming off over these nails, or the screws, it decided to get stuck and rip. So I may get another blanket like that. I may not. We'll see. But now I'm going to start installing some sound deadening. So that was a little less than 3 sheets. You know, it's not rocket surgery to get this stuff on. You just want to make sure that you don't have any gaps. It's going to let sound and heat through. And so roller's really handy to get it rolled down tightly. So since I have 3 more sheets, I'm going to do another layer. I'm probably going to cut it into strips or maybe squares. That way I don't have a seam sitting on top of another seam, especially like right here where I got this big long one. A lot of the other ones are overlapping, but so as you can see, I got 2 layers on. I actually miscounted earlier. I thought I had There were 6 sheets total. There were 7 sheets total. So I didn't quite have enough from the 18 square foot kit to finish it. Thankfully, I had a little bit left over, MVX brand from another project. So I was able to finish up this corner and over there. I think I'm going to go ahead and spray this with Gorilla Contact Cement and do the best job I can sticking the foam back down. See if I can do a little bit better job than the factory did. So that was installing the sound deadening. Like I said, a couple of key takeaways. Having enough material, a good putty, metal sharp putty scraper would have been good to help get the foam off without destroying it as much as I did. And you can use a utility knife or whatever. Just make sure you have enough sharp blades. I just keep boxes of razor blades around and use them. And when they get dull, I chuck them in the trash. So I'm getting ready to reinstall, but like I said, this wasn't actually attached to these plates before. So I gave them actually a shot of yellow paint. So hopefully they stand out a little better when I'm trying to put the self-tapping screws into them. And also, this is pretty thin here. I'm sure there's some NVH that comes up through that. Underneath here, you can see additional sound deadening there and over there. Since I'm out of what I bought, obviously I'm not going to be doing any more of that, but if I may consider doing something about that, as well as I've also talked about getting a carpet remnant and having it bound and putting it over this area, this whole area, and that would probably cut down on some of that as well. So we'll see what a change it makes. So this cover is now significantly heavier than it was before, by probably 15, 20, 25 pounds. See how this goes. To drill some new holes. See that yellow paint down through there? So what was the result from putting insulation on the doghouse? I collected some data and was hoping to show a reduction in the sound levels. And, you know, a phone app isn't calibrated to give you actual numbers, but I was hoping to show a difference between before and after and relative change in sound intensity. I ran a test loop of 4 miles, tow haul mode on, AC on, blower fan on low, and set at the feet. It was quite warm and I didn't want to suffocate. So I didn't turn it all the way off. Accelerated up an on-ramp, cruised 2 miles up the highway, got off on the overpass, came back to the start. Took a screenshot of the results sitting at the stop sign at the end I used another app which should have allowed me to record a video of the two trips and run a comparison. Unfortunately, even though I paid for the premium setting to be able to do that, it didn't save the video and I lost the before recording as well. So if you look on the left and on the right, my max and average decibels levels are the same. And the other app I used that had the video showed about the same, with a max of 101 decibel and an average of 86. However, when I was sitting at the stop sign, I was seeing a 6 decibel difference, like in the instantaneous reading. So, and I also think it reduced the noticeable noise in the cabin. So maybe the numbers are just due to overall NVH from the suspension, wind, etc. I don't really know. But we took a 900-mile road trip over Memorial Day weekend, and I was talking to my wife, and she said it was significantly easier to talk back and forth while we were driving. And that's while we were towing almost 5,000 pounds. This is the first time we've pulled anything behind the car. Going up and down hills, it was still, I think there was definitely less roar. It affected my tinnitus less. Everything in the cabin was a little easier. So I'm still considering putting some type of carpet and pad down over across the whole front, which should really help absorb some of those other suspension noises and other NVH, and overall give a more pleasant experience for the, I don't know, so far with like this $40 or so, maybe less than that I spent in the couple hours it took me to put it all on. I'm real happy with the result. So there you go.